Hey guys, the last Wordslinger here, and I have to apologize for not having any videos out lately. My tripod broke, rendering me pretty powerless to really make any quality films. I tried some various different things to hold the camera steady at the right level, and none of them worked. But I have a new tripod, and now I'm back in business, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the Green Hornet. I know it's a little bit late, but again, tripod problems, so here we go. Green Hornet. I went into this movie with an open mind. I did. I really, it's another one of those superhero movies, and I was hoping and praying that it would actually be good. And, I wasn't entirely disappointed. As far as an action film goes, it's pretty enjoyable. I mean, it has really cool effects and really cool, fun action sequences. As a matter of fact, the guy that plays Kato is probably my favorite actor in the film, mostly because he is the one that does a lot of the action sequences and all the martial arts. And the story was not difficult to follow. It was actually pretty understandable. Basically, Seth Rogen's character, the Green Hornet, works to become, his father is killed, and he wants to take down the crime in the city, and to do that he poses as a criminal to get close to the criminals to take them down. While at the same time he's building his criminal persona up to be some sort of criminal mastermind with the newspaper that he technically owns, that his father owned, but now he owns because his father passed away. And he uses his servant friend, Kato, and his martial arts and technical knowledge to get all the cool gadgets and do all the actual fighting and everything. In doing all of this, he discovers that the city is corrupt and that he has to bring all of this corruption down to make the city safe again, like his father would have wanted. And that's essentially the story right there. There's not really much to it, but it was really simple to follow, and I didn't ever get lost at any point, which is a good thing, because that's a big thing. That's a big thing for me, is that I really, really hate a movie that I can't follow the story due to poor writing. Even if it's supposed to be like a complicated, complex storyline, I don't consider myself to be a stupid guy, and I should be able to follow it, fairly easily, as long as the writing allows that. If it's poor writing, it's very difficult to follow. No, my biggest problem with The Green Hornet as a movie was the actors. The casting choices for this movie and the performances brought to the film were my biggest issue. And I think the biggest offender of this was, in fact, Seth Rogen. Now, don't get me wrong, Seth Rogen is a very funny guy. I really liked him in Pineapple Express. And I really liked him in, what else? Oh, I really liked him in Knocked Up. He was really funny in Knocked Up. But honestly, Seth Rogen's bread and butter is being the chubby funny guy. The chubby slop guy. That's funny to watch. And he took that persona that made him famous as a funny actor and just... he took it. He threw it away. He just threw it out the window for this role. He was trying to be like, a comedic action hero, and it didn't really work in his favor. Because about halfway to two-thirds of the way through the movie, I just found his performance incredibly grating. He was very, very difficult to watch just flounder about and yell and act like an idiot. For a good portion of the second half of the movie, I just couldn't do it. I almost had to like leave because it was just so annoying. And I really think that he was, and I know he was the producer and maybe the writer. I don't remember exactly all the roles that he was in the making of this particular film, but just because he he was all of those things doesn't mean that he should get to be the star. I really think that it should have been someone else that was far less grating. And as far as like the storyline of the movie goes, I was wondering what the hell Seth Rogen's character, well, what his use was. The only thing his character brought to the table, as far as the movie storyline goes, was money. That was the only thing. All his character did was fund Kato and his cool gadgets and projects and everything. That's all he did. You know, Kato was like, I want to build a car. Seth Rogen's character was like, cool. Here's all the money you need. You know, I mean, they never actually said that, but it was implied that all of Kato's gadgets and really cool cars and everything were funded because of Seth Rogen's character. And that was pretty much the only useful thing Seth Rogen's character ever did in the entire movie. As a matter of fact, there was a scene, I think it was toward the end. Yeah, it was toward the end, right before the big chase scene, leading up to the climax. There was a scene where Seth Rogen, not as the Green Hornet, but as his like regular guy persona, you know, goes to meet a corrupt DA or something. It's a corrupt city official, and to get him to confess, and he got the whole thing on a recording. And I was thinking to myself, all right, Seth Rogen's character is actually doing something useful to bring down the corruption. He's actually doing something that's good and useful, and, you know, not bumbling it up. I was very happy. I was like, all right, now I see the usefulness of Seth Rogen's character. You know, he's not entirely pointless to the story. And what happens? They take the recording data that was on like a thumb drive, and they take it, the big chase scene, take it to a computer to upload it so that they could spread the word about the corruption. And what do they find out? Oh, Seth Rogen didn't actually record it. Seth Rogen's character didn't actually record it. He erased it, or he lost it or something. He fouled up again. I mean, really? And even in the final fight, Seth Rogen's character, as the Green Hornet, goes to do this like super badass save Kato thing, and he fails at that too. Seth Rogen's character doesn't do a single useful thing in the entirety of the movie, other than fund Kato with money. That's it. That's the only useful thing he does. All right. The villain. I'm pretty certain, let me double check here, but I'm fairly certain that the villain was played by the same guy that played the Nazi officer in Inglourious Bastards. And if that's the case, I believe it is, but I just want to double check. Here we go. Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz. Yes. Okay, yes. Christoph Waltz. He plays the villain, Chudnovsky / Bludnovsky. Was the colonel, the Nazi colonel in Inglourious Bastards, and I loved that performance. I thought that performance was so menacing and evil, and it was just fantastic. I loved that performance from him. But in this movie, I don't know if it was his fault or the director's fault or the writing's fault, but it was somebody's fault that his performance as the villain in this movie came across like a whiny 13-year-old girl. And I'm not even lying to you when I say that. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it, and you will see for yourself that pretty much any scene that the villain appears in is pretty much consists entirely of him whining about nobody fearing him and people fearing the Green Hornet more, and Basically, he's whining like a 13-year-old girl would if she weren't popular in high school or whatever a 13-year-old girl goes to. Honestly. And if you have seen it and you don't believe me, go back and watch it again with that in mind and tell me that that is not what you see as you watch this performance. Every scene he's in basically he's acting like a teenage girl that's whining because nobody likes her in school. He's whining that nobody fears him that people don't fear him more than the Green Hornet. And it's sad. It's just a pathetic performance, you know? And then the fact that he has to take on a supervillain persona at the end of the movie because he feels he has to, you know, match the Green Hornet, you know. It just wasn't Christoph... I'm so sad. I'm so terrible. I don't know this guy's name. It wasn't Christoph Waltz's best performance in any way, shape, or form. If you want to see a good Christoph Waltz performance, go see Inglourious Basterds, because that was top notch. All right, the last acting note that I have, as far as negatives are concerned, is Cameron Diaz. Oh my God, why? Why was Cameron Diaz cast? Okay, her acting was not bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was just mediocre. That's not the problem I have with Cameron Diaz in this movie. My problem with Cameron Diaz is that she is supposed to be the love interest to Seth Rogen and Jay Chow, Kato, and she literally looks like she's twice their age. And they actually, you know, make note of that a little bit in the dialogue. But honestly, when I'm looking at Cameron Diaz on screen with Seth Rogen and Jay Chow, who are like in their 20s, and she's like, I'm pretty certain she's in her 40s at this point. I have to double check. If she doesn't, she looks like she is. That's the sad thing about it, is that she looks like she's in her 40s. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. She'll be 40 next year. So she's 39. So she's nearly 40. She looks it too. She's looking her age, unfortunately. She's not aging well. So basically putting her against two young-looking stars as the love interest, it looked wrong. And that was very disconcerting and off-putting for me as I watched this film. I could not picture Cameron Diaz as the love interest in this film. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it because it was just bleh, you know? Thinking of Seth Rogen and Cameron Diaz is like an elephant and an old monkey. Ugh, okay. The only good thing as far as casting and acting goes is Jay Chow, who played Kato. And that was pretty much because his martial arts are top-notch. His martial arts are fantastic. I think he's a martial arts star over in, Asia. I'm not exactly sure what country he's a martial arts star in, but I'm pretty sure he's a martial arts star over in Asia somewhere. And I can see why. He's actually got good presence, and he's got good timing, and he's a really good martial artist. And I think his portrayal of Kato was right on the money. I thought it was good. And so I really had no complaints with Jay Chow. Just everyone else in the movie was pretty questionable as far as casting and performances go. Could have been much better. But as far as everything else goes, you could do worse than the Green Hornet. You really could. The action is cool. The car that the Green Hornet drives is amazingly fun to watch. Where they open the doors. The doors open. The doors normally open like this, but these doors open like this, and there are guns coming out of the parts that lock the door in place, and that is just cool looking. I don't care who you are. Guns that are hidden inside the door and you open it up and you're blasting away. That is cool. I don't care who you are. That's awesome. So that was a lot of fun. You could do a lot worse than Green Hornet. You could do a lot better too. If you just want to switch your brain off and have a fun little action film, then I'd go see Green Hornet. But otherwise, if you're looking for something a little more emotionally or intellectually stimulating as far as acting or writing is concerned, go see something else. I guess those are pretty much my thoughts. Okay, hopefully I'll be getting more videos out to you guys soon, so I'll catch you later.